Hello everyone, Izzy here and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing something a little bit different. And by a little bit different, I mean my normal, but not YouTube's normal. And that is, I'm drawing a little comic, a little funny, for Tumblr and for Instagram. And warning in advance for this, I'm going to be talking about spoilers for Sonic Prime throughout this video and for various other media. I'm just going to be talking about some stuff. This is unscripted. I'm trying to keep some form of structure, but really there's no script here, I'm just talking. And yeah, I'll be talking about Sonic Prime, I'll be talking about other Sonic related media. So, I haven't seen Sonic Prime, I don't have a Netflix account, and I'm not gonna get one. So, I'm just hearing about Sonic Prime secondhand through memes, basically. And I heard about the whole arc where Sonic somehow messes up time. I haven't seen the explanation for how he did so, but I can only assume he was just like running and just goofing around, goofing and gaffing, and then somehow he just broke everything and Shadow got stuck in the void for a while. So that's unfortunate for Shadow. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, I just need to say, if I sound horrendous, that's because I'm getting over a bit of a flu here. So, sorry about that. Anyway, rep Shadow, right? So for how I understand it, Sonic broke the timeline so bad that like multiple different versions of reality exist, and he's like jumping through them to bring his real friends back. And in the meanwhile, he's meeting like feral Tails and Nine, the edgy Tails, and Rusty Rose, the robot Amy. And all this stuff, they're going through all the dimensions and having a fun time. But when I heard this plotline, I couldn't help but think of Flashpoint. And if you don't know what Flashpoint is, I don't know enough about it to give you a very good, like, comprehensive explanation for it, because I think the comics are a little bit different. But it's the Flash, the DC comic character. The TV show on CW, the only, like, really good CW hero show, I think. Like, Arrow was good, but Flash is the best one, in my opinion. Anyway, it's not Ezra Miller, by the way, so if you don't like that person, which, understandable, ugh. Yeah, this Barry should have been the real Barry, okay? He was perfect for everything ever. Aside from that, okay? In that show, and I'm assuming in the comics also, there was a point in time where the Flash realized he could run so fast that he could mess up time. He could go back in time and prevent stuff from happening. And in the show, spoilers, in the show, I think what happens is that he like goes back and saves his mom. Or he thinks about saving his mom and then he doesn't because he doesn't want to mess up the timeline more. I don't know. He messes something up in the past and he realizes that he messed it up in the past and everyone's acting weird, and then he goes back and he fixes it. That's the arc. And this reminded me of it big time. And so I was thinking, how would Sonic react to having done Flashpoint? And from what I understand, he's actually being like somber and serious about it in the show, but that's not ha 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 funny. And so I love the dynamic of Shadow being really, really mad at Sonic for being dumb, and then Sonic's just like, what? I'm just living my best life. And by the way, isn't that cool? Isn't it like sick? So yeah, that's what I was going with for the comic here. I can try to read it at the end or something. It'll be cringe, but whatever. But while we're here, because I can only talk about that much about Prime because I don't know the plot of it, so I can't give my thoughts on it, I thought I would discuss my history with the Sonic fandom because it's kind of wild, actually. So when I was a kid, I grew up playing Mario games, and like specifically Mario Galaxy is my favorite game ever, right? But other than that, I loved the party games. I would play the party games by myself, like a crazy person. And doing that, I played the Olympic games a lot, right? The ones for Wii. Do you remember the first Olympic games for Wii? Like, I think they were 2004 and 2006 or something like that. The summer and winter, the first ones. they are classics. I still really like them, but as a kid, I would spend hours and hours making up scenarios and whatever while playing it. And the only characters I knew were the Mario characters, but the only characters I was really interested in were the Sonic characters. I don't know, they just kind of, they spoke to me. I was like, the cute fox is cute. Let's go. And so thanks to just thinking the character designs were cool, I wanted to find out more about the characters, and so I would take just about every chance I could get to learn the lore. But the issue is that I really never did learn the lore. So, I've been a Sonic fan literally since I was like, I don't know, 8? And then I started talking about Sonic online when I was like 12, you know, like early on into Sonic fandom. You wouldn't know it by talking to me, because the Sonic games I've played, like strictly Sonic games I've played, I think in order, are Sonic and the Secret Rings, my favorite of the bunch. Yeah. Sonic and the Secret Rings, and then Sonic Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed for the Nintendo DS. And then Sonic 1 ROM for the DS, at which point I got stuck in the Marble Zone and never actually, like, learned the story, so that barely counts. Then I've played a little bit of Sonic R, and I've played a little bit of the fighting game. I don't remember what that's called. The Sonic Punch-Out game, basically. And then I've at least seen that one where Tails Sky Patrol, I think it's called, but I didn't own that one. I played that one at other people's houses. Same with Sonic R and Sonic Fighting Heroes, or whatever that's called. So then, at my house, I played Sonic and the Black Knight, so I've got both storybook series down. Yeah. Then I got to sample Sonic Generations, and I didn't really like it. I don't know how, because apparently it's one of the better games that exist right now for Sonic, and I didn't like it. So I don't know. I love the storybook games. And then after that, somewhere in there I sampled Sonic and Sonic Unleashed. And I didn't like it. But I didn't get past the Werehog stage, to be fair, like the first Werehog stage. Then I got Sonic 06! And I liked it. So that's where I'm at with the games. I've also seen the TV shows. The one I watched the most of was Sonic X, probably. So good. I've got the plot to Sonic Adventure 2. Except I accidentally skipped Season 2, I think. Because there was a big point in there where I didn't know what was going on, and then Cosmo just died. And I was like, who's Cosmo? And I think that's because I skipped Season 2 entirely, because I was watching them uploaded onto YouTube, and I read the label wrong, I think. I mean, I don't know. I was 11 or something. I wasn't paying attention. But I would assume that's what happened. And then I watched Sonic Underground and rage quit when they brought in that lion dude, because I was like, that's supposed to be Tails! And I got mad. And so I stopped watching Sonic Underground, and then I watched Sonic Boom throughout Season 1. And I kind of fell off until they introduced Shadow, and then I watched the episode, and I was a little underwhelmed by how they introduced Shadow, and so I didn't watch the rest of Sonic Boom. But I still really like Sonic Boom. It's probably my favorite of the Sonic shows, and that's it! I know that sounds like a lot. If you are in the Sonic fandom, you'll know that's nothing. You'll be laughing your head off right now. But if you're not in the Sonic fandom, the games I played all managed to be either not considered canon, storybook series, Olympic games, racing games, etc. Not canon, okay? The shows I watched, the shows aren't canon. Sonic X is the closest to following canon, and I skipped the only season that would be. The only game I played that has any, like, actual plot relevance that I got far enough into to have it, like, transfer any knowledge into my head was 06. And that is widely considered one of the worst games that has ever been made for Sonic. And that was
That was the only serious one I ever played. And so I don't know anything about this man. This 16-year-old for 20 years man. But despite not knowing anything about the blue cat, rat, hedgehog, despite that, I was still like a dedicated fan of Sonic, all growing up. To the point where when I was on Roblox, my username was a Sonic character. And when I joined DeviantArt, I joined as Sonic X Fan 13 because Sonic X was the only show I'd seen at that point. Boom wasn't out yet when I joined DeviantArt. And the reason I joined DeviantArt is because on Roblox, I saw that there was the ability to upload decals, I don't know how to say the word, I'll be honest, to upload decals for Robux, except you couldn't actually really charge Robux, but I didn't know that, and I was like, oh, cool, I could make money, and so I drew Sonic fan art, and that was like the first fan art I ever uploaded to the internet. And then one of my friends was like, hey, you should upload that on DeviantArt. And I was like, I don't know what DeviantArt is. Cool, I'll join it. And that's how I got on DeviantArt for the next, 6 years. And the whole time I was on DeviantArt, I was a dedicated Sonic fan account. Nobody knew. Nobody knew that I knew nothing. I fit right in. So I was a bit of an imposter for 6 years, and I didn't think of it that way. I was like, I'm a fan. And then as I got older, I realized I didn't know anything. And the little bits I did know were from reading wikis, not playing games. And then I got off DeviantArt, and I got into other fandoms, and I didn't really think about Sonic for a number of years. And then he just got relevant again out of nowhere, and I was like, oh my goodness. I remember that. That was like great times, you know? That was great childhood times. I should join the fandom again. And then right as I went to do it, I was like, but I know nothing. I know nothing. So did I rectify that? No, I didn't learn more about Sonic. I just begged and pleaded to be let in anyway, and they accepted. So I'm back in the Sonic fandom, I guess. But without Sonic, I probably never would have gotten into art. I always liked art, but I probably never would have gotten really into art. And so, this fandom, I owe it, everything I've ever, drawn and posted, I owe it to this fandom. And it's so crazy, considering that I seriously, I cannot emphasize just how, the lore that I know is that Maria died, and Shadow's sad. And the future got messed up, and Silver got mad, but then the future got reverted back to normal, and so I don't genuinely know if the Silver we're talking to is the same guy or not. And Sonic's fast, and Tails was an orphan, and Amy is strong, and that's about it. That's what I've got. Chaos control. Yep, I know the line. It's no use. There we go. Wow, such a real fan. But, it'd be nice to learn more about the fandom someday. I don't know if I will have the time to actually, sit down and play the Sonic Adventure games, which is where the lore really lives. I don't. But, I love being a part of the fandom. I love knowing enough to make little comics and to engage with the fan base. And I love the fan art so much. The fan art for the Sonic fandom is unreal. It's so good. So, I don't know where... There's no real conclusion to this. I don't know what I'm talking about. Have a good day. Except actually, I guess if we want to fill up the last couple of minutes, I can talk about Best Boys. Because Tails was always my favorite. And then I played 06. And I realized that Silver is kind of baby, and I love him. So that's that, I guess. Oh, and another thing. If Sonic's gonna wind up with a human being, it's not gonna be Elise. I mean, preferably he doesn't wind up with a human being, but I'm less opposed to it because they're alien beings, and they're not just animals. They're alien people. And Shadow and Maria, I still kind of like. And so, if Sonic was going to end up with a human being, it wouldn't be Elise. It'd absolutely be Shara. They're perfect. I don't know why the storybook series gets so much hate, because Shara is Chara's a big W for human characters in the Sonic world. Absolutely. Love her. My favorite scene in Sonic that I've seen so far comes from Secret Rings. It's a lot funnier in my head than it actually is, as tends to be the case, because I grew up with the game, and so, you know, your head just makes everything very, very, very funny when you're a kid. But it's the one where Sonic goes out of his way to help, quote quote Knuckles, but it's not Knuckles, it's Sinbad. So he goes out of his way to help Sinbad so that he'll help him get the fire ring. And so he's like, okay, what are we doing now? And Knuckles is like, what if you dump some water on it? And Sonic's like, ha! Sinbad of the Seven Seas, adventurer of adventurers. What a great idea. And Knuckles is like, well, how about you come up with something better? And then they start fighting, and Tails is like, stop! And then he says something smart. And that's the... I don't know why. I don't know why it was so funny to me growing up. I don't know why I watched it as many times as I did. And I don't know how that was enough for me to stay in a Phantom, but it was, so hi and bye. I'll let you vibe with whatever music I've got going, and have a wonderful and joyful rest of your day. I hope this video isn't a complete disaster, and if you like this format, I've definitely got more, so please let me know below. Yeah, adios. So I'm gonna try, I did the comic read already, but I don't think it was very good. I wasn't really trying hard enough to sound like the characters, and so I'm gonna try again. But before I do, I just want you to know how embarrassing it is to try and sound like Sonic, because I don't sound like Sonic. I'm not good at impressing him, and so to get even kind of close, I have to be all like, so... Hey! Oh man, what's the man sound like? Hold on. Hey! Hey! I'm Sonic the Hedgehog, and So, you're telling me that I ran fast enough that the timeline split apart at the seams? Permanently altering the past so severely that nothing and nobody was left the same?
You might be starting to understand.
So, does that mean I did a Flashpoint?
What is wrong with you?
Not a real comic character, my butt! Never again! My real question is why I couldn't have agreed to do a dub for a comic that has Tails in it. He's voiced by a girl. I could do this. But no! Why would I do that when I could just, when I could include Sonic and Shadow and things that I can't do?